you stop right there.
You want to go watch this comment for the television show, and then you can continue to go on.
Oh, no, you good. Appreciate you.
Okay.
Yeah, but I like to give short doses because I know you're more apt to obtain the information. Because, you know, sometimes it seems like we struggle to get this information when it's just an hour long. But so, with that being said, we're going to pick up next Shabbat in 2 Chronicles. And we're going to gain some more understanding. We're going to go a little bit deeper. I know this seems surface right now, but it'll get deeper to give you more clarity and understanding. Because I don't know how familiar y'all were with the divide and the split, or knowing that the New Testament Gentiles are actually Israelites. Because, you know, most when you come out of some organized religions and stuff, when you read about the Gentiles in the New Testament, you taught that they're all the other nations. But when you come here, you get the correct understanding. You see that they were Israelites who had been dispersed and scattered into those nations.
That's right.
Hallelujah. At this time, we're going to relinquish the floor and turn it into the hands of my senior More Kasalabox. Let's say hallelujah.
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 Shalom, Lord. You going to take us to another level?
It's part of your lesson plan. Actually, we're going to the book of John. Again, you're going to go into that.
Yes.
Okay, so very good, excellent. This again, another dynamic lesson. It's very important that we understand Scripture. What happened with the two houses, Northern Kingdom and Southern Kingdom? And we want everybody's participation, because, also the sisters too, because we want to make sure that y'all also have the understanding how serious this walk is. And the reason why is because we're in a whole lot of trouble. I don't know if we're really understanding how serious these last days are. Scripture teaches us that what's about to happen has never happened on the planet Earth before. Never. The things that we're about to see, that's about to unfold, I can't compare it to anything because I'm just not familiar with it. Even when we begin to read scriptures and it gives us a glimpse of what's about to happen, that's all what it is. It's just a glimpse. And we just want to make sure that everybody has a clear understanding how serious this covenant is. This is the reason why we started off in the book of Joshua, the 24th chapter, making sure that everybody clearly understands that we are absolutely, definitely living in some very critical times here. What's going on between North Korea and South Korea, don't sleep on it. The situation that's going on between Israel and Iran, please don't sleep on that, because things are really beginning to heat up. Morey has brought out the importance of saving. Make sure that you keep bottled water, canned goods, anything that has a long storage shelf life. Make sure that you keep those things at hand, nearby. Batteries, flashlights, even other things that you might want to keep in your cars. Make sure that you're ready, because the shofar can blow at any time. I truly believe that this is the generation where all these things are going to unfold. Morey brought out now that there must be a reunification of Northern and Southern Kingdom. That is very, very important. So the Mashiyach could not come. Once that split was given, we must understand that the Mashiyach cannot come until the two houses are brought back together again. We have to understand what is the good news. Good news can only come to a people that's in captivity. How could the good news be to the Romans when the Romans were already living in their glory? So, again, the Basara, the good news, can only come to a people that's in captivity. That's a no-brainer. And then when we begin to look at the scriptures, we have to ask ourselves, those of us who are real familiar with the scriptures, when did the split with Israel? Yeah, between the brothers here, when was the first split?
I don't know the exact year. That's what you're looking for.
No, an event. The time that they split is when the brethren split with Joseph. Remember, they split with Joseph. That was that split there. Moreh went into now a couple of months ago, maybe about a year ago, when they're in that split. It talked about a reunification, because remember now, when the brethren went to meet Joseph, they couldn't recognize him. And he told now the others that was in the room to leave out of the room. And that's when now Joseph now reunited themselves with his brethren.
Revealed himself.
Exactly. He revealed himself to the brethren at that time. So again, there must be a reunification. But this hatred now between northern and southern kingdom existed way back during the time of Jacob, and before when Jacob actually was given the blessings now with Ephraim and Manasseh. That's why when you go to the book of Ezekiel, the 37th chapter, it makes mention of Joseph. Joseph's name is there. And then we see Ephraim's name being mentioned there. So when Moreh now went into the book of John, the 4th chapter, remember now, it talked about the Mashiyach had to go to a specific place. A very specific place that he needed to go to. Where did the breach that happened between northern and southern kingdom happen at? It happened in Galilee. Watch what happens, all right? This is only going to take a minute.
I take time.
Okay. In John the 4th chapter, because this is extremely important, because your salvation depends on this. It really depends on this. If we can't come together as a Mashiyach, there's absolutely no way in the world that we're going to be able to come together in the wilderness. It's just not going to happen. Everywhere in Scripture, it talks about us living collectively as a people. Everywhere. And like I said, I think a couple of weeks ago, the first example that we see what the Father's trying to share with us that we must live collectively as a people is that he put Adam and his Isha in an enclosed garden. Listen to that. In an enclosed garden. That's the way that it went. Watch this. In John the 4th chapter, I'm not going to read the whole thing. I'm not going to get into Moreh's lesson here. This is only take a minute. Just making sure that we're paying very close attention. Like Moreh said, when we went to the book of Ezekiel, when we talked about the two women, the two daughters here, it's very important that we look at the names. Every single time that you read the scriptures, make sure that you understand present tense, past tense, and look at the names. Look at the Hethel system, look at the Nephil system, Nephil system, all of the tenses, to make sure that you get the best understanding possible. And I'm going to say this. Mishpachar, leave these Jewish commentators alone. Leave them alone. They're commentators. Leave Rashi, the Rambam, and the Maimonides, all these guys alone. These are Jewish, these are actual names. Leave them alone. Because it's Jewish commentary is what it is. Watch this. Verse 4, I'm only going to read down to the 6th verse. When therefore Yahuah knew how the Pharisees had heard that the Mashiyach made and baptized more disciples than Yahuah. And then if you have in parentheses, okay, there's no parentheses, no question marks, no periods, no chapters, no verses in the original Hebrew writings. It's not there. This is done to help us to read the scriptures a little bit more clearer. And I don't have a problem with that, but just be aware, when you add parentheses, question marks, and periods, it changes the construct of the sentence. So be very careful how we read. Now, he, the Mashiyach, left Judea and departed again to Galilee. And he must ask the question, he must needs go through Samaria. Samaria is referring to who?
Northern Kingdom.
The northern kingdom. Then he came to a city of Samaria, which is called Sychar. Anybody know what the word Sychar means? He's going to Samaria, and he's going to Sychar. Sychar is going to describe the condition of the people. The word Sychar means drunkard. All right? These people are drunk, but not with wine. He's referring to northern kingdom. So it's the Strong's number 4965. Okay, near to a parcel of ground that Jacob gave to his son Joseph. The question, where is this parcel of ground? This parcel of ground is called Shechem. Remember when, we're just going to skim over this, but just read it. When Joseph was in Egypt, he told his brethren that to take his bones and to actually take it out of Egypt, and they buried his bones in Shechem. The word Shechem means shoulder.
Say that one more time.
Shoulder. The word Shechem, it means shoulder. All right. So to this parcel of ground, which is Shechem, that Jacob gave to his son Joseph, and Jacob's well was there, and the Mashiyach therefore being weary with his journey, he sat thus on the well, and it was about the 6th hour. I'm going to speed this up here a little bit, all right? I'm going to take a whole lot of time. We have Shechem. Joseph's bones were buried in Shechem. The word Shechem means shoulder. The Mashiyach here in John the 4th chapter, the Mashiyach is standing at a specific location. It says that he's in a valley. In a valley. Joseph's bones were buried in this valley. This woman is disputing with the Mashiyach, okay, about where to worship. This place that the woman is familiar with is called Mount Gerizim. The word Mount Gerizim, or the word Gerizim, is plural. It means to cut off and to separate. Again, describing the condition of a people. So we have the Mashiyach standing in the valley, and the argument now is about another place where the Yahudims are worshiping at, which is Jerusalem. So we have the Mashiyach standing in the midst of two important mountains. Anybody know what that other mountain is? The other mountain, remember now, before Israel went over to the land, Joshua was commissioned to set up or stand at two mountains. One was Mount Gerizim, and the other one was Mount Ebal. Mount Gerizim now was the mountain of blessings. Mount Ebal now was the mountain of cursings. The Mashiyach is standing in the midst of the blessings and the curses. He's describing now the condition of northern kingdom. They're drunken, and we have Mount Gerizim. The reason why Mount Gerizim is so important now is because when we begin to look at Shechem, the first altar that Abraham set up was where? Shechem. Shechem is a very, very important location. That's the reason why we went to the book of Joshua, the 23rd chapter earlier. But we'll talk about it later. But beyond a shadow of a doubt, this Samaritan woman is Northern Kingdom Israel. Beyond a shadow of a doubt. There are so many things that's listed here. When we begin to dissect the word Shechem, we begin to dissect, okay, Mount Gerizim, we're in debt. We're in so much debt to the Father, sending his Son, Yahusha Mashiyach, and with the shedding of his blood, being that atoning sacrifice, to now bring us back into covenant relationship with the Father again. If we don't get it right this time, I really don't know what to say. I don't. We are so indebted to the Father when we begin, again, to look at the scriptures and understand it from a Hebraic perspective. I'm not seeing why there's so many problems. You don't have a choice. We don't. All these things came into fruition when the tester died. It is of non-effect while the tester is still alive. But now that he has died and resurrected, and as Maury said now, I mean, Israel is not obligated not to marry somebody else because there was a death and resurrection. So when the Mashiyach died, we died. When the Mashiyach resurrected, we're now back into covenant relationship with the Mashiyach again. You're not free to go out and do whatever it is that you want to do. It's really that serious.
And also, Maury, if I may,
Sure.
this is the issue, the problem that I have with those that reject Mashiyach, Yahusha. This is why when you see this, anybody that rejects or tell you that Mashiyach didn't exist, he's not the one, automatically you should know they don't have an understanding of Torah. There's no way you can say that you understand Torah and not see Mashiyach, Yahusha fulfilling the exact Torah, what is written. The first person to tell me that they not Messianic, the first thing that comes to my mind, they never understood Torah.
Oh.
Because it's impossible to understand Torah and not see Mashiyach. You just can't do it. I mean, you just can't, because all of it is him.
Oh, wow. Bishop Maury is going to come up again by the will of the Father, and he's going to expound a lot more on John, the 4th chapter, because Bishop, these mountains are very, very important. Shechem, Mount Gerizim, Mount Ebal, Mount Moriah, and even the place where the Father set his name at. And all of this here is listed in the book of John, the 4th chapter.
And also, one more thing. I just want to encourage all of you that don't have, get with Yashra'al or some other brothers and sisters in here. If you have a smartphone, download some of the free Bible apps that have the concordance built in. So, like I said, if you went studying, it's not a lot of time that teachers and stuff are so deep. It's just that they have an understanding on what to look for and how to study.
Exactly.
And in the Hebrew language, one thing you're going to be in Maury always focus on, names. Say it again. Names are very, very important, and it's imperative that you always look at and identify names. Whether it's the name of a city, name of a mountain, name of an individual, a prophet, or anything. When you look at those names, because the Hebrew language, it's built, it's anything you want to know when you're reading. Just start looking at the names and see if you don't find whatever the name is, if you don't find it within the passage that you're reading. And you'll gain understand, okay, this is what this is about. This is what happened to this people. Now, so, yeah, so I know one of the apps is
Eastward.
Eastward. I think you can get that on every operating system, no matter how it is.
I think on iPhone it might be $199. Eastward. But if you can't get Eastward, download the app that's called the Holy Bible. They have a built-in concordance as well.
And the only thing you have to do is just touch the word and screen that pop up, window pop up with the Hebrew or the Greek, giving you the strong and giving you the understanding of what
Popular
it
sword
means.
too.
Yeah,
Popular sword, Bible Gateway.
Yeah, Q Bible.
Yeah, Q Bible. There's a couple different ones.
What's the name of brother?
Popular sword.
Okay.
And for Android users, it's my sword.
Right.
Exactly. And like Corey said, I mean, the only thing, it just takes that time and discipline. Turn off the TV, turn off the radio, and say, listen, you know what? This is what I'm going to do today. 1 hour. Pick a topic in 1 hour. What I'm going to do is just take my time and just go over, let's say, one chapter. Let's say one chapter. Just take your time. And just look at each and every word, present tense, past tense, the names, locations, and it'll bring a better understanding. Because, like for example, we talked about the word Shechem, and it means shoulders. And we look at where the Mashiyach actually was talking with this woman at. He's down in the valley. So we have now Mount Gebal, okay, and we have now, not Mount Gebal, we have Mount Ebal, and we have Gerizim. And we have now these two mountains here, and what's between two shoulders?
The head.
A head. So we have the head now speaking with a woman, okay, northern kingdom Israelite, and offering her salvation, because when we talk about the water now, we're not talking about so much the literal water, but we're talking about this everlasting water that a person will never thirst again. This is what we're talking about. So Mr. Kai, again, take your time, download these programs, and if there's any questions, ask Moray, myself, or anybody else, and we'll try to give you the best answers that we can according to Scripture. Just make sure that you pay attention, because there's a lot of things that's about to happen. So make sure that the oil does not burn out of your menorah.
That's right.
All right? Your menorah. Don't let that oil burn out, because I don't have any to share. I don't mean to be stingy. When it gets to that point, I can't give you none of my oil. Go buy something. That's not the best I can tell you. Because right now, this is the rehearsal time, and this is the practice, so make sure that you get it right. There's any questions about anything? Okay, we talking about,
I just wanted to ask real quick, because you brought up the two mountains. I don't feel like messing up the names, so I'm not going to say them, but one was with a G, and one meant blessing, one meant cursing.
right.
Was Yahusha standing in the midst of them, representing him being the doorway to either one, depending on your decision?
Well, what's so interesting about those mountains there, because it's talking about blessings and cursings, it even goes back to the Deuteronomy 20.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking about.
Your life and death. So that's what it is. It's life and death is what it is. So it's not magic.
Right.
You know, it just how you're reading. Reading comprehension. That's what it is. And another key thing too now to understanding is that when you find yourself in a situation where you're going to submit to Torah, it becomes easy. If it's hard, it's because there's something going on in your life. There's a stumbling stone here. If you're not willing to totally submit to the Father is not going to show it to you. You have a lot of book smarts, and there's a whole lot of people that have a lot of book smarts. They know these scriptures back and forth. But when it comes time for application, forget about it. Forget about it. And one more thing, I promise this is the last thing. If you are not willing to lay down your life for the sheep, you cannot teach. Cannot.
Well,
Though that's one of the prerequisites for both men and women. Because women are supposed to teach the other women. If you feel that you cannot lay down your life and the bickering and all this stuff that Maury had talked about last night, the two things that's going on with the two sisters, you know, if you can't put your past differences aside, listen, sit down. Just sit down and let somebody that's more qualified, that's willing to lay his or her life down and do the teaching. Isaiah, Jeremiah, all of them were willing to put their lives down on the line for this Torah here. If you can't do that, don't get up here, because what's going to happen is that, remember what happened in Acts 19 chapter with those disagreeable spirits? Mashiyach, I know. Shaul, I know, but I don't know you. I don't know you. And I'm going to tell you, once those disagreeable spirits jump on you, they don't let go. They don't let go. And these disagreeable spirits are for real. They have you thinking and doing all kind of crazy stuff.
Yes, it would.
All right, so that's the reason why I tell them, make sure that you gird up. All right, so we're probably going to go to shofar. Is there anything else? Anybody? Any? Kathy? Oh, you want to show us how the bowl? Okay. You show us some bowling tips. All right. Okay, so are there any announcements? You're here. Okay.
I booked the park and reserved the pavilion at Fort Yargo for July 8th for our Shabbat coming together. So we're gonna go out there and grill some salmon, eat some ribs, some, So that's July 8th. So go ahead, if you work, just go ahead and put in for that day off. We have a really good time.
Absolutely. Absolutely, definitely. And just recall, let's just continue to fund the congregation with any little bit that you have, because again, we want to keep moving. All right, we don't want to stay here forever. With that, we're going to stand up, face the east, blow the shofar 7 times, and
we are at the lake, just in case y'all want to swim.
oh, okay.